Hello and welcome back to the Entrepreneur's Journey podcast. And today I have the absolute pleasure of chatting with Jarvis Leverson, who is the creator and founder of The Morning Hero, also known as Chief Accountability Officer for entrepreneurs and business owners. He is a success coach who helps people turbocharge their productivity by winning the morning and hacking their goals so that they can achieve them faster. He is also the founder of the Accelerated Growth Club, which brings together like-minded individuals who are all pursuing the best version of themselves. He has built an amazing community around personal growth and helps people live happier, healthier, and more fulfilling lives. So welcome to the podcast, Jarvis.
Wow, whoever that was you just described, I want to meet that person. I want to meet them. Can you set
That
it
sounds
up?
like an awesome person. The first question that I'd like to ask you, Jarvis, is what originally got you onto your entrepreneurial journey?
So I never set out to become an entrepreneur. I didn't wake up one day and was like, you know what, I think I want to go be an entrepreneur. I was doing commercial real estate. And at the time, I had just gotten really, really deep into personal development. I had overcome, some serious trauma in my life, and I had gotten into personal development, and I started learning new skills and things that was greatly benefiting my life. And so I was just kind of content doing real estate, but I just was finding out new ways and tips and tricks on how to become and be the best version of myself, right? And it was helping me overcome this place in life that I had overcome, this huge hurdle in life. And as I was learning all these things, it was just seated on my heart that it was my obligation to gift it back. And so I just started from a place of service. Like, how truly can I serve others? Like other people that are in a similar situation, that are facing the same demons and battles. Like, how can I serve them to help them, get from point A to B faster, right? Because I went through a lot of bumps and bruises to get to a point B. And it's like, if I can reach back and help other people kind of smooth their trajectory from point A to point B, if I can be an influence to help them, like, that would be fulfilling to me. So I just started off with, how can I serve other people? And it started off with me just creating a meetup group to bring together people, and we talk about how to get the most out of life, how to be more productive, how to fulfill and serve your purpose. And so that slowly then but surely, people started put me on a platform where people started coming to me as the go-to person for that topic. And then that started to present business opportunities to the point where it got to the point where I could then stop doing real estate and just focus purely on my passion. So it was like I kind of grew into entrepreneurship. I didn't set out like, I'm going to be, have this great program where I help, companies, organizations, and individuals produce more, right? I never set out to do that. I was just working on myself. And in working on myself every day, it grew and evolved into my purpose. And that slowly became my purpose. And I think a lot of people are seated with a purpose and they never act on it. The difference was, when I was seated with this purpose, I took the leap of faith and I acted on it. And when you work truly in your purpose, the money will show up. Like, a monetization path will show itself. Like, I didn't set out like, okay, how can I become this great personal development person and make a lot of money doing it? Like, I didn't set out with that intention. I set out with this service first. How can I serve people? And through that, ways to monetize that presented itself. And so I kind of fell into entrepreneurship, if that makes any sense.
That makes 100% complete and utter sense, Jarvis. And I think it's an amazing thing. It's never really wow, I woke up and had this magical idea. I mean, very occasionally it is, but the fact that you were solving problems in your own life led you to believe, wow, I can help other people solve these problems. I can make an impact here. And you were following something you were passionate about. I think it's so true, because when you're really passionate and excited about something, very, very often the money's just going to come. And also, you're not going to give up. You're going to be relentless, because you're just so excited about what you're doing every single day. You have so much belief in it that other people then buy into that belief. So I think that's a really amazing thing.
It's the starting point for everything. oftentimes we want to chase, we start with the money aspect first. What can I do that's going to make me a lot of money? And then can I get good at that? And then how can I be passionate about that? And that's the wrong starting place. It's starting first with what you're good at, what you're uniquely qualified to serve. What value can you add? Like if you start there, money will find you. Like when you become really, really good at something, like you create a gravity and you attract people, places, and opportunities. And like, how can you increase your gravity? And your gravity is all centered around what you're passionate about. And like, for instance, my wife, she's passionate about helping kids, right? But if you think about it, there's no money in that. Like, there's no money in being a teacher. But so if she had to start off with a money first perspective, she would have never gone into teaching. But boy, it's her passion and she's good at it and she puts her heart and soul into it. And because she's so good at it, she has ascended through the tiers and now has become a speaker, and she goes around and coaches and consults other schools and other districts, and she's on this grand platform, and now she's the go-to person for this specialty that she's created, and now she makes a lot of money, right? She didn't start off like, damn, how can I make a lot of money? Whoa, let me go into teaching. Like, no, she started off as like, I have a passion for children. Like, forget the money. This is what I'm really good at. And that created, because she was so good at it, and because she was so dedicated to it, it created a gravity for it. And then now she's the go-to, and every money, places, and opportunities are coming to her, seeking her out, because she's created this gravity around this thing. So anyway, that's my rant.
That's really amazing. It's so true. I think your passion is power, because passion leads to obsession. And when you're obsessed about something, obsession then leads to mastery of your craft, a mastery of what you do, because you're obsessed about it. It's all you think about. It's most of what you think about. And then the money follows that obsession, because you built yourself up to the point where you were so good at what you do. You become the go-to person, as you said, which is an amazing thing. And so I'd love for my audience to get to know you a bit better and hear more about your story. And I know that you're the morning guy. You're the morning hero. You're about winning your morning. So I'm curious to know about your journey into that. What was life like before you woke up early and developed a routine? And how is it different now because you make that commitment to wake up early and get a head start on the day?
Great question. And it's a drastic difference. So I've spent the large majority part of my 20s. So I just hit my 40th birthday, by the way.
Congratulations.
I know, I found the fountain of youth. But so I just hit my 40th birthday. I spent the majority of my 20s really just kind of falling on my face, like trying to figure out who the hell I was. No real direction, no real priorities, just partying, chasing girls. Like that was all my life centered around. And so naturally, I had no structure. I had no routine. It was just, I kind of lived by the seat of my pants. And to be honest, like I have amounted a fair amount of success doing that. I was in sales and I was making a good chunk of money in sales. My whole objective was to see how much money can I make and how fast can I spend it. And that was really my cycle that I was in for my 20s. And then that kind of burnt out when I hit my 30s. And I kind of hit a plateau. I hit a brick wall. And that lifestyle started to degrade. Like I went from going out and hanging out 1 or 2 nights a week to going and hanging out four, sometimes 5 nights a week. And it really started to spiral out of control. I was constantly chasing fulfillment in all the wrong places. And it wound up with me, getting let go from my job. I went from the number one sales rep in my company down to the very last place sales rep, all in the same year. That same week that I got let go from my job, my girlfriend broke up with me, and I had to move out and move back in with my mom. I took a 4-month hiatus and went and traveled the world. So I went over to Europe, traveled around, still seeking fulfillment, still trying to seek, find who I was, and came back to the United States dead broke. So I spent all my savings traveling the world, came back, had $0 in the bank, and I had to move back in with my mother. And that was my come to Jesus moment. I'm laying on my mom's couch. I'm 36 years old at this point. I'm like, what the hell am I going to do with my life? And it was right at that moment. A friend of mine, I was on the phone with him, and they said, "You probably should read this book called The Miracle Morning. Like, you're a loser right now. Like, you need to do something with your life. Like, read this book." And so I had never heard of it. I had never heard of personal development before that. I had never read a book before that moment. This was the first book I had ever read in my life. Before that, I would just read the cliff notes of books. And so I read that book called The Miracle Morning, which talks about how to take charge of your life by waking up early and doing this kind of structured routine that will help you find your purpose, will help you get motivated, amped up, and excited to attack the day every day. And at that moment, I was sleeping on my mom's couch. I had nothing to lose, so I was like, okay, fine, I'll read this book. And I remember reading the book. I read it within 2 days, and the third day, I was going to try it. So I was going to wake up early, and I was going to try to do this routine, which is like meditation and journaling and all these like woo-woo things that, like, I was like, yeah, that stuff will never work for me. And so I was like, screw it, I'll try it. And so I woke up. I remember that morning I set my alarm clock for 6 a.m. and I woke up at 5:57 a.m. I woke up, jumped out of bed before my alarm, like excited. And that was the first time I had been excited in a long time. And I was like, okay. And I did this process, and I did it again the next day. And I did it again the next day. And slowly but surely, I started to just get this hunger for life again. And I was writing my goals every day. I would visualize my goals, and I would write them down, and I would meditate on them. And I just built this concrete vision of what I wanted for my life. And then I got up early and I attacked it every day. And that's where that's where the fire was ignited for me. I learned the power of the morning. Before that, I really was waking up, 9, 10 o'clock in the afternoon, like in the mid-morning. I never really had a structure or anything. And the moment I started waking up early, there was like a peace and serenity in the morning that I couldn't find any other part of the day. Nobody else was up. There was no distractions coming in. It was just me and my thoughts and my goals and my vision. It was just me and a piece of paper, game planning how I'm going to take over the world. And every morning I looked forward to getting up and just like going over my master plan and like hungry and excited. And so that was 4 years ago. I started this art of waking up early because I found that the morning it was unparalleled of what I could do and accomplish in the morning as opposed to any other part of the day. And so that I started calling myself the morning hero because it was like every morning I would get up and I would transform into a superhero just to go out. And I even tell my wife to this day, I was like, all right, I'm off to go out and save the world. And that's what I felt like. I truly feel like when I do when I do my morning routine, I'm up and nobody else is up and I know I'm the only one up grinding, like I feel like I'm a superhero. Like I have an unfair advantage over everyone else right now because they all are sleeping and it's 4 a.m. and I'm grinding. Like I'm a superhero. And so I transform into a superhero every morning because I found the art of waking up early. So now I get up at 4 a.m. every day and like I don't even need an alarm clock. My brain wakes me up. Like it's like 4 a.m. hits, I'm like, I'm up and it's time to go. Let's go get it. And it's one of the most life-changing techniques that I've ever incorporated.
Yeah, that's a really amazing story. And there is a definite power in having a flow to your day. It's almost like the ritual that you do to get yourself in the best possible place mentally to be able to crush it and do loads of work. And there is a beauty in the morning when you're up before everyone else. There's just this silence all around. And you feel like you have an extra pocket of time. You feel like, wow, I found this extra pocket in time and space that most people never find, which I think is an amazing thing. And it's really, really amazing to hear how that has transformed your life and all of the amazing things that you've achieved since reading that book. The Miracle Morning, I've read it. I highly recommend it. It's a fantastic book. And so this leads me to ask, how can you win your morning? How can you set up a good ritual, good routine to
good question.
The best possible habits?
So I've now become like the go-to for the morning. Like on my social media, I post a lot, like on my stories, I document every day, kind of like how my day goes. So I've kind of become the go-to. A lot of people always ask me these questions like, how do I wake up early? I've been trying to do this, or what should I do when I wake up early? And I always tell people this, like, the focus really isn't on the morning. The focus really needs to be on the night before. Because if you can master your evening, your morning actually is easy. Like, it's hard to go to sleep at 1 a.m. and then try to wake up at 5, bright, energetic, vibrant, to get stuff done. Like, your body naturally needs sleep. So the real hard part for people isn't waking up. The hard part for people is actually going to sleep at a reasonable time that's going to allow them enough time to still get their full amount of sleep so that they can wake up early. So for me, for me to wake up at 4, I have to be asleep by 10 p.m. Like 10, a lot of people are just eating dinner at that time. But I have to be asleep by 10, which actually means I have to start winding down at 9 p.m. So I actually have an alarm set on my phone that goes off at 9 o'clock every night, and it cues me to start winding down. And for me, winding down, my wind down process is turning off all devices, so television, laptop, phone, stop engaging with any type of screen. So I stop engaging with technology, I pick up a book and I start reading. Reading is the perfect tool to wind yourself to sleep. One, for a number of reasons. One, it helps turn your brain off. Like when you lay down at night, you don't just automatically go to sleep because your brain is still firing. You need a way to actually deactivate your brain. And the more you're engaging with technology or devices, you're still engaging and activating your brain. So you need a way to disengage your brain and to deactivate it. And reading is a great way to do that. Number 2, it feeds your subconscious something to churn on overnight. And I don't know if, you probably notice, like if you listen or if you're watching a scary movie or something at night, you end up like having scary dreams or nightmares, or you end up dreaming you're in the movie, right? It's like whatever you're feeding your subconscious right before you shut down is actually what will continue to play all throughout the night. So when you're feeding your subconscious social media or television, like you're feeding your subconscious toxicity right before you go to bed, that's what it's churning on, and you get inconsistent sleep. You wake up at spur of the moments throughout the night, and you don't get good quality sleep. And therefore, you can't wake up early if you're groggy, right? So the whole power of waking up is how do you get to bed earlier and get a better quality sleep? Because if you do that part right, you can wake up at whatever time you want, bright and energetic and vibrant. So for me, the best thing to do is, at a certain point in the night, turn off devices and start reading, because that disengages your brain and winds you down, and it feeds your subconscious something healthy and wholesome to churn on overnight, so you get better quality sleep instead of this frantic, sporadic, interrupted sleep that we get. So that's like, if you're looking for best ways to go about it, focus on the night before, not necessarily the morning. The morning will take care of itself if you focus on a nighttime routine that will get you in a good place for taking advantage of your morning.
I definitely agree. It makes a huge difference. You always need to think of what's going to trigger the morning.
Right.
What's going to trigger the morning is obviously the night before, because obviously sleep is very, very important as well. And you need to make sure that you set yourself up for success. For instance, what I really like to do in the evening is, before I do anything that's involved with relaxing or just messing about or whatever, I make sure that I've got my day for the next day planned. Because when I have that planned, that means I can wake up in the morning, and instead of thinking about, what should I be doing today? I'm not sure. I have no idea. I already know, because I already planned it. It's on my calendar. It's on my to-dos. So that's a really powerful thing. And also with the reading, if you can read or listen to something that is educational or based around personal development or something that you're trying to learn, it's so true that you can then use the sleep time productively as well, because you're gonna be thinking about that in your subconscious. So that's really powerful. So I'm curious, once you've mastered the evening, which is the crucial step, when someone wakes up in the morning, what are some common pitfalls to avoid? And what are some things that people could start to implement to make their morning better, more vibrant?
So I'll just tell you a little bit about my morning. First and foremost, I don't interact with my phone in the morning. I used to actually sleep with my phone in another room. So my phone would actually be in the bathroom. It wouldn't be in the room with me. So I wasn't constantly tempted to grab it. But it's easy to get sucked into this routine of as soon as you get up, the first thing you do is grab your phone. Most of the time your phone is the alarm clock. So you have to grab it to turn off the alarm. But then all your notifications are showing up. All the social media, all the text messages. So then all the emails. So then naturally you spend the first 30 minutes just laying in your bed, scrolling and surfing on your phone. The first thing I do is I got rid of my phone. So my phone is not even in the room. So I'm not even tempted to do that. I don't engage with my phone until mid-morning. So I get up, I get my espresso. I'm an espresso drinker. So first thing I do is I grab my espresso and I spend at least 10 minutes in meditation. So the way I meditate is I call it's more of like a brain dump. So I sit in front of a piece of paper and I close my eyes, and for 10 minutes I just let it all dump out. Whatever I'm holding on to, whatever's in my brain, I just write. And sometimes it'll come out as a to-do list. Sometimes it'll come out as business plans. Sometimes it'll come out as ideas from what epiphanies I had overnight. I'll tell you, one time I was before bed. Here goes the power of reading before bed. Before bed, I was reading a book on copywriting because I'm learning how to write engaging copy for emails and for my websites, like how to write and tell stories that engages people. So I'm reading this book on how to become a better copywriter. And the chapter I was reading was about coming up with good headlines, good catchy headlines that catches people's attention. And so I'm reading it and then I fall asleep. That morning I wake up and it's like 5 new headlines had come to me while I was sleeping. And I went and I sat in front of a piece of paper and I just started writing. And I was dumping it all out. And the power of your subconscious actually goes to work for you overnight. Like whatever you feed it, you give it a homework assignment at night. And that's what it works on all night long. So it's like, what kind of assignment do you want to give your subconscious to produce for you? So anyway, I sit in front of a piece of paper and I dump out. For 10 minutes, I close my eyes. And then I have my pen and paper. And then I open my eyes and I'll write. Then I go back to closing my eyes. And whatever comes to me, I write it. And so it's kind of like an in and out of meditation state, but it's more like I call it like a brain flush. And so I'll do that and I'll just get everything out. And then I'll plan my day. And so I'll spend about 10, 15 minutes. I'll write my goals first. And always, I write my goals 7 days a week, sometimes multiple times a day. Right now, if I can show you my screen, when I come into work, when I come into my office, first thing I do on my board, you can see right there, those are my goals, the little black written. Everywhere I go, the first thing I do is I write my goals. The goals are the starting point for everything. It helps me understand what my focus is for the day. It helps me, it centers me in the gravity of what I need to be working on so I don't get distracted. I don't get straight off course. When I write my goal, now it's top of mind. I know exactly what's most important at that moment, and now I start firing off on what I need to do to get there. So I write my goals, then I plan my day, and then I go exercise. I do all that within an hour. So that's all the first hour of my day. And that all happens before I ever pick up my phone. Sometimes I don't pick up my phone until 7, 8 o'clock in the morning. Before that, I've had 2 to 3 hours of just my time without ever engaging my phone. That's the hardest part of this whole process, is to get rid of this thing and don't let it encumber your morning. Because once you pick this up, it takes over. It takes over. It infiltrates your mind, and now your intentions, like you're being dragged around by this. So you need the first part of your morning just for you to set your own intentions. And so I try to stay away from technology to do that.
Most definitely. One of the great things about having a routine like that is that it allows you to habit stack. You get in all the things like, exercise, motion motion creates emotion, which makes you want to do more. You get
Yeah.
to do your meditation style is so interesting. I really like it, and I really want to try it because it's not the normal kind of meditation that you hear about, but it's also like the kind of meditation that brings about really interesting ideas and helps you understand yourself better, which I think is a great thing. And it's such a great opportunity to habit stack and get all of those good habits in before later in the day you're like, I'll get to that, and then you never do, right? And I completely agree when it comes to technology. My phone is on airplane mode most of the time. It's on airplane mode right now as well. And one of the things that I like to do is, because I don't like, apps were created to attract the mind like a bee to a flower, and the dopamine rises and you're like, oh, what's in this app? What's going on here? So what I've done is actually in my settings, I've made it so I can make my phone completely gray and black and white. So when it's on that mode, I'm like, look at my phone, and I think my brain thinks, oh, I want to look at my phone. And then I look at the phone and I'm like, ew, gross.
That's a cool thing. I'm gonna have to try that.
Yeah, highly recommend it. Great life hack that. So yeah, the morning is really powerful. Having a morning routine is also extremely powerful. However, there are some people who might have a schedule that just doesn't allow them to wake up really early, because as we said, sleep is really important. Some people need to sleep longer as well. Some people arguably are night owls. Some people have that energy level at the evening, and many different people work in different ways. I'm one of these people, I'm more productive in the morning personally. But how can people who either are that place in life where their schedule doesn't allow them to wake up early, or they just don't function as well as other people, maybe you don't have experience with that in the morning, still apply those principles to set themselves up for success?
Yeah, so the word morning is relative. Your morning might be different from someone else. The morning just means from the time you wake up, what do you do? And I recommend the first hour is you spend that hour with yourself. Like, that's your time to shine. I call it grind time. That's when you grind on your goals. Like, the first hour is where you sit down and you map out what the day is going to look like, get reconnected to your vision, do some exercise, like brain dump, and like start, brainstorming on what your next big thing is. Like, the first hour is yours. Like, don't let other intentions get in your way of you spending time with yourself first. Every morning, you have to fill your cup up before you can go off and start saving the world. So whether you wake up at 4 a.m. like me, or if you work the night shift and your wake up is at 3 p.m. because you're on nocturnal hours, that first hour is the time for you to do your routine. And that's just time for dedicated, isolated time for yourself. So you can do that at whatever time of the day. Now, so your second question was, what about people that don't think they can become a morning person? They don't have a nocturnal work schedule. They themselves have just built this story that they aren't morning people, that they can't work isolate. And for those people, I would just say that I used to be that. I was nocturnal. I would be up to 2, 3 in the morning. I'm a computer engineer. And so, the lifestyle of an engineer is that we're in the library studying till 2 in the morning. Like, that's when I felt I got my best work done. It was from 10 p.m. to 2 a.m. And so that was all the way from, when I went to college, all the way, and I kept that same schedule all the way through my 20s. It just went from studying till 2 p.m. to 2 a.m. to partying to 2 a.m. But I kept that same schedule all the way through. And I built this lie in my head that I could never be a morning person. I hate morning people. Like, there's nothing more annoying than someone chipper and happy first thing in the morning. Like, what are you so happy about? Right? And that was the lie that I would tell myself until I read The Miracle Morning. And the very first part of The Miracle Morning breaks that down. That we have all these things that we justify it, like my circadian rhythm and my body clock. And like all of that, like anyone can wake up, can be a morning person. Like, there's nothing that's built into your DNA. There's no genetic sequence that prevents you from waking up at a certain time. It's all up here. It's all the moment you commit your body falls in line. Like the moment you commit, your body falls in line. Now, I'll tell you, so in the book, it gives a way to prove this to yourself, that your body is obedient. Your body is obedient to what you tell it. When you tell it, I'm not going to be able to wake up early. I'm going to be groggy. I don't function well in the morning. When you tell it that, it obeys. It listens to you. Your body listens to your speech. So in the book, it walks you through how to do nighttime affirmations. Basically, you speak differently about sleep. You speak differently about your morning, and you'll see that your body will obey. So, and I guarantee you should try this. If your listeners haven't ever tried this, try this exercise tonight. At night, tell yourself, like pick what time you want to wake up. Let's say I want to wake up at 5 a.m. So right before I go to bed, say, oh my God, I am so excited to get up at 5 a.m. tomorrow so I can do my meditation. And pick something that you're going to do when you get up that you can be excited for. So let's say it's meditation, or you want to try a new flavor of oatmeal, whatever. Say, I am so excited to get up at 5 a.m. so that I can try this new oatmeal that I've been dying to try. Like, make up this fake excitement for the morning. And I guarantee you, whatever time you said you're excited to wake up at, you'll wake up 3 minutes prior to that time. It's scary, but it's real. It works. This is what happened the night I tried this with the Miracle Morning. When I was going to wake up at 6 a.m., I woke up at 5:57 a.m. And every day since then, that's been happening. And it's because of this. Your body's obedient. The minute you tell it, I'm going to be excited to wake up at 5 a.m., it listens and it obeys. But here's what most people do. Oh my God, how many hours of, I'm only gonna get 5 hours of sleep. Oh, I'm gonna be so groggy. I know I'm just gonna be so tired when I get up. The minute you said that, you've implanted that into your subconscious, and your body obeys it. It will be tired, it will be groggy, because you just told it. So I challenge anyone that says that they're not a morning person to change the way you speak about your morning. The moment you start telling yourself, I'm excited, you know what, I can be a morning, I'm going to wake up, I'm excited to get up at 5 a.m. The minute you start saying that, I guarantee your body will fall in line, and it's not as hard as you think.
I'm definitely gonna try that. I'm so curious about it. I'm gonna be checking my clock to make sure it's exactly.
Right, and test me on it. I want you
I will. I'll send you a message. I'll be like, yo, Jarvis, you were right. It was 3 minutes before I said. That's really interesting. It's so true that there's such a power in the mind. Your mind controls your body. Your brain is literally the most important organ, and it is the command center for the entire body. So the mind does have extreme power. I completely agree with that. And that's really interesting. I like to challenge people as well. And I definitely agree that the morning is extremely powerful. And having that 1 hour to yourself where you can take care of yourself. Because if you wake up and everyone else and everything else is your priority, and you stop being the priority, you stop taking care of yourself, everything's going to go down for you. Your energy is going to go down. People are going to take from you. You're not building yourself up. But in the moment that you can build yourself up more, the more you're going to build others up as well, which is an amazing thing.
Absolutely. Well, you got it. You're a morning hero right there.
Hell yeah. So I would like to talk about some other more business related things. But before I do that, I want to know, what are some of your best productivity hacks for working throughout the day?
By far, the number one, besides waking up early, is this concept that I teach called zero calendar, where you plan out every minute of your day, down to the minute of what you're going to do all throughout the day. Oftentimes, you'll know when people's calendar will only have really important appointments, like a doctor appointment or their class work, or a meeting with someone. But then the rest of their calendar is blank. And I live by this philosophy that blank space is the death of productivity. Because in that blank space, you're forced to try to figure out what to do at that moment that's going to make the best use of your time. And here's what happens. This goes back to like the ancient, prehistoric times where back in the caveman days, we only had three main functions, and that was, trying to, chase food, chase after women or an opposite sex, or trying not to be chased by a tiger, right? Those are the three main functions of survival. And so it was our survival mechanism. And the way we've been able to ascend as a species is that our brain has adapted for energy conservation because it needed those bursts of energy, that extreme burst of energy for any of those survival tactics, to either chase a mate, chase food, or run from food, try not to be chased. So it was groomed and adapted for energy conservation. Now, that allowed us to ascend as a species and to become the dominant species. But now, even now, our lifestyles have changed. We're no longer chasing food. We no longer have to chase and exert energy after a mate. We're no longer hunting and gathering, but our brains are still adapted for energy conservation. It's built into our DNA. Now, the problem then is that when you look at the way we do productivity, we're normally structured on lists. We do to-do lists. A to-do list is just a random list of all the stuff you want to get done. Now, when you look at a list, your brain, wanting to conserve energy, will always land on the easiest thing to do. And so when you have a blank space, you're like, okay, what should I do now? And you look at a list, you will naturally do the easiest things on that list. You won't do the hardest things. You won't do the things that's going to make the biggest results. So for me, I don't do lists anymore. Death to the to-do list. I prioritize the most important things and I schedule those things on my calendar. All the important things I need to get done, I block out that time and schedule it on my calendar to the point where my entire calendar front to back is scheduled and there's zero blank space. And the moment you shift from using a list to using your calendar, something magic happens. You double your productivity. And this is backed by science. So there was a study done by the University of Pennsylvania where they took a group of people and they gave them a random list of things to do. And they took another group of people and said, take this list and put a time next to each of these things that you're going to do it. So basically, take this list and schedule it. Don't just leave it as a list, schedule it. So instead of call your mother today, it's call your mother at 10 a.m. The people that scheduled the things on their calendar are twice as likely to do it. They essentially doubled their productivity when they scheduled it. So the biggest productivity hack in life is don't use a to-do list, use a calendar and schedule all the things you need to get done on your calendar. And fill it up with all the intention you want to get done. Guarantee it'll make you more focused and more productive.
There's what I found interesting about that is when you said people only schedule in important appointments like a doctor's appointment and things like that. And yeah. I'd argue that the appointments with yourself are often the most important because champions are made when no one's watching. So when you actually schedule in time with yourself, like I'm going to do this hard stuff then, and this stuff then, and this stuff then, one, it places importance on the tasks that you actually have to do to move the needle, the high impact actions. And also at the same time, it removes the uncertainty. It takes your emotions out of the equation instead of thinking, well, I don't feel like it, so I'm not going to do it. It's like, well, the calendar says I'm going to do it, and I don't know what else I'm going to do, so I might as well just
just do it. Yeah, essentially, that's the beauty of it. After you schedule the day, from that point forward, you just turn into a robot, and you just do what's on the calendar. Like, you don't have to think about it anymore. It removes the guesswork, and you just look at the calendar and execute. You just turn into a robot at that point. It actually makes your day easier. Like, people kind of initially think that it's stressful. Like, oh my God, I don't want to see that much stuff on my calendar. It's stressful. Like, no. Actually, it's easier now because now you don't have to think all day long. Now you just do it. You look at your calendar, do it. Like, it actually makes your day flow a lot faster and easier.
Yeah, it's another one of those really neat ways to just eliminate decision fatigue from your life, which is a really interesting thing.
Absolutely.
So I'm curious because this is like your thing. You're the morning hero. This is what you serve people with, right? Then there's all of the business aspects of how you grow your business and how you scale your business. And this is an audience of entrepreneurs, so I'm sure they're really curious about that aspect as well. So the first thing around that is I know that your network is really, really important. People are the product. People are really, really important. And I'm curious because I know you're good at this. I know you're involved with something called the University Club as well. And so I'm curious of why is building a strong network and joining a community of like-minded people really important?
Well, Jim Rohn says that you are the average of the 5 people you spend the most time with. And it's one of my favorite quotes in the history of humankind. And it totally is. Like you will become what you surround yourself with. Whether you like it or not, you will become it. So the people you surround yourself with, and I used to think like this, but when I was kind of back in my party days, like I knew I had all this potential and I knew and I would go and I would hang out with these group of, people, unsavory people. And I would always put myself in a different platform. Like, I can hang with them, but I'm better than them. Like I'm not at that level. Like I'm better. I know I'm better, but I could still go hang with them. But I would always separate myself. And then slowly but surely, over time, I'd look up and I'm like, holy shit, I'm one of them. I'm one of these people that I used to look down on, that I used to call lowlines. I'm one now, right? I became the people I surrounded myself with. And so it's like putting that this is just a principle of life now. They slowly, through osmosis, you pick up and you absorb everything around you. So with that being the case, what do I want to absorb? Do I want to absorb success and greatness and hunger and tenacity? Do I want to absorb that, or do I want to absorb just people that are settled and comfortable and complacent? And so I saw the impact that had in my life, and I flipped it on its head and I started using it for my good. It's like I want to put myself in the room with people that are doing big things because I want to do big things. That's where I want to go, where I need to be hanging around them. And it's worked wonders for me. So it's like, how do you do it? I would say, like, don't be intimidated about, man, I got to go find these great people doing these awesome things and somehow figure out how to get around them. Start where you are. How I got started was I just created my own community right where I was. I didn't have to try to, I wasn't intimidated about trying to go find these great influencers and these great people and figure out how I can be mentored by them. It was like, no, all I did was I set up a meetup page to attract other people that was in the same position as me. Hey, are you interested in these topics? Do you guys want to get together and talk about this kind of stuff? Let's meet up 7 p.m. Thursday nights here. And slowly but surely that meetup turned into the Accelerated Growth Club. Started off with 6 people the first time I did it. And then it grew. The last time I had it was 125 people came to it. And I created my community. I didn't have to go off and try to find and infiltrate an existing community. How can you create your own community? All it is, like with Facebook groups and all these online tools, you can create your own community of people that are just like you, looking to do the exact same things you're looking to do. And the more you spend time with those people, the more you all elevate together. And so it's one of the probably the most powerful tool to your personal growth is surrounding yourself with the right people. And all that is as easy as, how can you create your own community right now? Find a couple of people that think like you right now and say, hey, would you guys like to get together on a regular basis? Can we do this on a weekly basis? Let's just get together and meet up at a coffee shop. Or maybe let's get together and do this Zoom. But how can we connect with each other on a regular basis so that we're all having the right conversations, that over time we all grow together?
Definitely. And I think the great thing about having your own group of people is that often you'll go and you'll try and find the group. You're like, where is the group of the like-minded people? And I'm sure there are many groups out there. However, it can be quite difficult to find, especially in the beginning. And the thing is, when you create your own group, and it's your message and your way of thinking and the things that you're passionate about, you're going to attract exactly those people that are passionate and excited about that message and excited about that same thing. And that also gives you leverage because you become the leader of that group, which is also a fantastic thing.
Absolutely.
And yeah, so I'm curious to know a bit more about your Accelerated Growth Club. And also, I know you've done things like host free events. I know you're really, really good at bringing people together. How are you able to put things like that together to create real value?
And again, it goes back to when you start living in your purpose, the universe will present opportunities for you. This started off as me just trying to build my own community, me just trying to build community and connect with. I knew that I needed to surround myself with the right people. And at the time, I couldn't find that group. I couldn't find the community. So I just posted on meetup.com and I created a profile and I called it the Accelerated Growth Club, which meant when you surround yourself with the like-minded people that's all hungry and aggressive to becoming the best versions of themselves, you will all grow faster. Essentially, you will accelerate your growth when you link up with other growth-minded people. And that was the tagline of the event. And I just posted it on meetup.com, and then that's how I started attracting people coming to that event. And then it turned into like seminars. Like it got to the point where I would invite guest speakers to come, and I had people coming in to speak to the group to talk about different topics, self-love, meditation, productivity. Like each event was all centered around now like an agenda, and it turned into this full-fledged thing that we then ended up getting sponsored by the city of San Diego to throw these events free for the city. So we'd host them at the library, which we could bring in hundreds of people, and I'd bring in guest speakers. So it all started up first with I was trying to serve a need for myself that then I saw could serve others. And when I started doing that and got really passionate about that, then these other opportunities started to come around. So I didn't set out with the intention to have this big event. I set out the intention with just I needed to surround myself with cool people, and I saw that it served them too. And it was like, how can we serve more people? And from there, it created a gravity, and it started to attract other opportunities and people. And then that's kind of how I got thrust into this platform of like the expert at this. I didn't go to school for this. I didn't go to coach. I didn't go to Tony Robbins coaching. No, I became the expert because I was passionate about this. And then people put me on. I didn't put myself on a platform. People put me on a platform because I was so good at this.
Yeah, that's a really amazing thing. I think when you start out on something like this and you start to pursue the things you're really excited about, you can't even envision what's going to happen. You just know, okay, I'm getting 1% better every single day. And I know that the opportunities are going to come if I keep taking consistent right action, which is a great thing. I think that's the thing. Just the things you build end up being things that you couldn't even have pictured that being a possibility, which is really fantastic. And one of the mantras that I live by is that if you want to change the world, change yourself. Start with yourself. Stop trying to just fix the world. Fix yourself first.
And sometimes having a big vision will actually do more harm because it'll intimidate you. If I had to set out with a vision this big of having a company that now goes and consults organizations and grows teams and gets them to be their high performing selves, and now having a software platform that makes productivity more efficient. If I had to start off at square one thinking of that, I would be like, holy shit, that's too much. There's no way I could do all that, right? But I started on what's the step in front of me? Like, how can I serve this right now? Okay, now what's this step? And I'm just going to focus on this one step and get hyper-focused. Oh, now what's this step? And then over time, I look up and I'm like, damn, I'm a mile down the road, right? But if I had to start it off like, all right, Jarvis, you're going to go run a marathon. I'm like, okay, well, fuck that. I'm not running a marathon, right? So
yeah, exactly. You quit before you start.
You quit before you start, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. And just taking that next step, just focusing on what's in front of you is another really powerful thing, because when you think of, I often have this as well, where I have many things on my plate. I've got a lot of things that I need to do and learn and get done. And so I start to think, oh, I've got so much to do. I don't know what to do. I don't know where to start. And then you get into analysis paralysis and you start thinking about doing instead of actually doing. And so another thing of just focusing on the mantra of take the next step. What is the one next step? You can make it as easy as possible. What is the one next step? That takes the analysis paralysis out of it. And as long as you stay in motion and keep just doing things and chipping away every single day, that's what leads to the opportunity.
Yeah, and that's where this whole "it's easy" comes from. Like the way you do hard thing, the way you make hard things easy is just do the one thing in front of you at that moment, one step at a time. Oh, that's easy. I could do that. Oh, that's easy. I could do that. And next thing you know, you look back and you're like, wow, I did all that. It wasn't hard. It was easy when you just did what's in front of you at that moment.
That's so true. That's so true. I'm curious, Jarvis, what does success mean to you?
Success for me is being able to provide the lifestyle of my wife, and my child, and my family deserves. Like whatever that looks like. And I tell her that every day, like that's my mission in life. But in doing so, it's going to serve. The way I'm going to do that is through this. I think I've been uniquely gifted to. I can take complicated concepts and ideas, and break them down into a simplistic form, and articulate it in a way that can get people to act. And I've been uniquely gifted with that, and it's my obligation to use that gift now to be able to impact the world. And so for me, success is being able to use my gift, my God-given talents, for its purpose, and that is to help people get from point A to B faster. And so for me, it's not about money. Like I do a lot of stuff for free. Success is not driven by any monetary valuation. It is purely on impact. How can I impact? Or how I leave an impact? And my impact for me is there are people that are stuck at point A, and here's where they should be. They should be at a point B. How can I help bridge the gap between where they are and where they should be? And the more I can do that, I'm living a fulfilled life. I'm living in my purpose, and that's success for me.
That's really, really powerful. And I think when you shift the frame from how can I chase the money, how can I chase this object, that thing, the validation, whatever it is, and just thinking, how can I create the most impact? That leads to this internal sense of fulfillment. It leads to like, wow, I am successful because I'm on my path and I feel fulfilled in what I'm doing and creating an impact and helping and serving, which is an amazing thing.
Yeah. I mean, I chased the money for a while, and it landed me on my mom's couch, broken on my mom's couch. So
there we go.
The minute I started chasing, working on myself, my own fulfillment and purpose, and everything changed for me.
Yeah, that's really powerful. Love it. My final question for you, Jarvis, is what are 3 key truths about the entrepreneurial journey that you would drop on a young entrepreneur today?
Oh, it takes time. Don't get discouraged. Just know that there's an inflection point. Like, I don't know if you're going to be able to see this. Let me turn to a fresh page. But it's the return curve. So I'll see if you can see this this is the return curve. So this is the amount of effort that you put in. Mm-hmm. Or this is the reward. This is the results, the reward. And this is time. And this curve reflects, like, people think that it's a one-to-one relationship. That they originally think that, you see this straight diagonal line, they think that the amount of effort they put in, they get a reward. They put a little bit of effort in, they get the return. They put a little bit more effort in, they see the results. They think it's a one-to-one relationship between the work and the results. What you'll see, though, is exponential relationship. You will put a ton of effort in, a lot of effort over a time before you start to get the results. And then here, I call it there's an inflection point. There's an inflection point where all of a sudden, something happens. And all of a sudden, it seems like stuff is coming out of nowhere. A new deal just came out of nowhere. I just signed a new partnership agreement. Someone just emailed me with a new opportunity. Like, holy shit, where did all this come from? And it's because you've been putting in the work every day. You didn't see it, but you were grinding. You were working every day. You didn't notice it, but every day you were playing down your balance. I call it, if you know what layaway is, like this generation probably doesn't know layaway, but back in the day, back before credit cards, the department stores had something called layaway, where you can go in and you can reserve an item. You didn't have all the money up front, but you had a little bit of the money. So you pay a little bit of the money, and then every now and then when you had more money, you go in, you pay a little bit more of the balance. And they would keep the item in the back reserved for you with your name on it, and you would keep coming in and paying a little bit of the balance off. You would keep coming in and paying a little bit of the balance. And then one day you walk in and you pay that final payment, and then they hand you your item. They hand you your reward. They hand you the thing you've been paying off all this time. And that was called layaway. And your goal is on layaway with the universe. And every day you wake up and you're grinding, you're paying down your balance. You're paying down your balance. You may not see the reward. You're walking out of the store empty-handed, but you're paying it down. You're paying it down. And one day you get up and something happens. You grind and you paid off your balance. And the universe hands you the goal that you've been working towards. The problem is most people give up. They give up around here before they ever hit their inflection point. This isn't working. I'm not seeing the results. And this goes for every area of your life. I ate 3 salads this week. I didn't lose a pound. This doesn't work. Like, they put a little bit of work in and they didn't see the result and they give up too soon. Just know, you got to pay off your balance in full. And that sometimes takes a little time and effort and work and perseverance. And so the biggest thing I would tell an entrepreneur is just know it's not in vain. Grind. Get on your grind, stay on your grind. And over time, you're paying down your balance. And one day something magic is going to happen. And you're going to wake up and your inbox is going to be filled with new orders, new opportunities, new projects. And you're going to be like, all right, yes, this is it. This is the moment I've been waiting for. But it takes time. It takes time. So I would say that one thing, all my top 3 is in that one scenario. Like, keep grinding and you're paying down your balance and your rewards are waiting for you.
That's really, really powerful. I love that. I love that. And for the listeners who are not watching the video right now, go to the video because the graph is really powerful. And that was an absolutely beautiful analogy, Jarvis. Love it. So now is your opportunity to plug anything that you would like to plug to the people.
Yeah, we talked a lot about mornings. You want to know a little bit more about how to get up there with vibrant energy. You can go to themorninghero.com. There's a checklist, 5 biggest tactics that I have learned that I use every day to set my mornings on fire. So how to wake up early. How do I wake up early? How do I wake up at 5 a.m.? I get that question a lot. I mean, I wake up at 4 a.m., which gives me an extra 3-hour head start on the average person. Right, so I'm getting a much greater head start. How am I able to do that? I got tired of answering the question, so I boiled it down into a 5-point checklist that you can go and download. So if you just go to themorninghero.com, you can download the free 5-point checklist on how to wake up early with energy and vibrancy every day.
Nice. I'll put that in the show notes. And where can people find you?
That's where they can find me. Or Instagram is.
Or Instagram.
Yeah, Instagram is @the.morninghero. Every day I post videos on just how to live a supercharged life. So I would say the Instagram is probably the place you'd want to connect because I put out a lot of content on Instagram.
Perfect. All of that will go in the show notes. With that said, thank you so much for coming on, Jarvis. It was an absolute blast on my end, and I really appreciate your time.
Boom. I hope it was worth it. I know I under-delivered, but at least maybe I hope it wasn't a complete waste of your time.
It was fantastic. Thank you so much.